Hey, y'all, welcome. So glad that you are with my soul sister, Brandi Lea, and me. Welcome, Brandi.
Hi, I'm so glad to
Hi. I know. For the Seeds Storyteller Series, I have been looking forward to sharing Brandi with y'all and um, for people in Brandi's world to be able to loop in with your amazing community too. So wherever you're joining us from, whether on the live or on the replay, um, Brandi and I were just talking before this live that we believe there are no accidents, and we intended and prayed that whoever is meant to be with us stumbles upon us in that no accident sort of a way. And here's Brandi's story. Get some inspiration and encouragement in your own life. And we hope that each and every one of us that are a part of this find some steps for our own inspired action to really make a difference and to connect with people and to live a life that just feels amazing as we go. So, Brandi, where are you coming to us from, sister?
from my couch in
Yes.
Colorado Springs.
Yes.
So just about an hour south of you, and we're enjoying winter here. It is frosty outside. I've got the fireplace going and my Christmas tree on.
And the stockings behind you.
Oh yes, stockings hung with care.
Stockings hung with care.
So they get hung on the windowsill.
Right. It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, for those of you that are new to me, my name is Sarah Davison-Tracy, and this is the Seeds Storyteller Series. And I created this because I have a treasure trove of amazing people doing things that inspire me, that help me learn about the world, help me learn about my part in the world. And I just thought, man, I want to share these people I love with people I love. So we decided to do this virtual storyteller series so that truly people from all over the world can be a part. And again, live is always fun, but the replays are awesome too. So however it is that you're here, we invite you to continue this conversation however you're inspired. Brandi and I are like open arms welcoming emails and private messages and comments below on YouTube and Facebook, because we really believe that's part of what makes life amazing. And my name is Sarah. I'm an author, a speaker, founder of Seeds of Exchange. And Seeds of Exchange is a community of people that are simply and powerfully looking to make a difference in the world together. And sometimes that has a local flavor, and sometimes that has a global flavor, and sometimes it's this beautiful soup pot of it all. So, which it is in community, because all of us have different destinies and different callings and different gifts. So that's the good news. Wherever you are, whatever is capturing your attention, there is a place for you here, and we invite you to lean in and listen to the stories that Brandi is not just sharing, but living. She's living this big love for brothers and sisters in Uganda with the organization that she founded, Beauty for Ashes Uganda. So before we dive into her story, Brandi and I are going to take all of us through what we call a place of pause, or a pop. And we really believe that to fuel and sustain a life that's making a difference, we've got to have this kind of practices for soul care, for soul full living that can take us through the really gut-wrenching days and the really full to the brim with so much going on we can barely contain it, and everything in between. So we invite you to take, this is just going to take a couple minutes to kind of, if you are able, close your eyes, settle in, take a few deep breaths, and I'm going to kick it off and Brandi's going to wrap it up. And for me, I thought that I wanted to share this excerpt from Soulfully Ablaze with you as a blessing for who you are in your day to day. One of a kind, you are here with a destiny that is one of a kind in nature. There's no one like you, never has been, never will be. this is your superpower. Open up to the truth, claim it, share it, until you express your one-of-a-kind destiny in thought, word, and deed. The world will not see or benefit from its stunning gift. And when you do, you will be living, really living in that edge of your seat sort of a way. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes if it would feel good. Be still. Surrender. Buzz. Our brains often zing at lightning speed. Our bodies can endeavor to keep up with the endless lists, needs, and opportunities. But here, invite the buzzing, the zinging to stop. Here there is peace. There is rest. Breathe and be.
I love that.
Thank you.
I think that what you're sharing so many times in, especially the Christmas season, it's just like chaos
Right.
constantly. And for me, this week I came home from Florida for Thanksgiving, and snowstorm delayed us. We got home Monday, and then Tuesday was Giving Tuesday, which if you run a nonprofit is like the biggest day of the year. It was a 17-hour work day, and we are running nonstop. And I think so often, I think my pause isn't intentional enough.
Mm.
And so a pause where like, I'm going to just run, and then I'm going to stop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch TV.
Right.
Or I'm going to click off, or I'm going to scroll through Facebook, or whatever it might be. And I think that there is something so valuable in being intentional with our pauses.
Yeah.
Like the whole time you spoke, I don't know if people could see it, but I was doing that 4x4 breathing of like breathing into the count of 4, pause at the top for 4, out for 4, pause at the top for 4. And I don't know where I read it. I think maybe in The Deepest Well, which is a book by Nadine Burke Harris about childhood trauma, about how, it's phenomenal. Write it down. You need to read this. And it's about what trauma does to our bodies.
Oh.
And that 2 minutes of deep breathing can reset your entire nervous system. And it can turn on your parasympathetic system. And in trauma and in chaos, and I think sometimes just in busyness and in chronic stress,
Yeah.
that our body is going, our amygdala is firing, and everything is on fast. And so that's our stress response system. And our other system is our parasympathetic system. And it's the one that calms everything down. They call that our rest and digest. I think so many times we run so fast and so hard that our parasympathetic systems barely ever turn on.
Yeah.
And so I am a person who's really dealt with the consequences of that I found myself in secondary trauma from the stories I've carried of friends around the world, and kind of not knowing what to do with that, and pausing, breathing. And when it's warm enough outside, taking my shoes off and putting my feet in the grass for 2 minutes with the intention of settling and centering and remembering that I can rest is more effective even than a day off where I spend it running errands the whole day.
Right.
Or an evening off where my husband and I veg in front of the TV.
Right.
Like that might actually be time off, but did it do what my soul needed?
Right.
so I love that intention to breathe in what my soul really needs. And sometimes I think that we can't take time off because we don't have like 5 hours. Like I don't have time to go, or I don't have money to go get a massage or a pedicure, or
Right.
take a whole day. And one of the things I'm working on is finding intention in the moments I do have.
Yep.
So if I do have an hour, how do I spend it running if it's nice enough outside? Not today. But how do I spend it running? And if I'm running, what am I doing? What am I listening to in my headphones?
Yep.
What am I doing while I run so that my time starts to work for me? On Giving Tuesday, I swear the only time I actually had off was when I went and picked up my son, because it's like a freaking cell phone.
Yeah.
Like nothing works at all. And so I had 7 minutes and I was like, okay, like, how do I 7 minutes like to breathe, to play solitaire on my phone, to do something that turns my brain into a different kind of pathway.
Yep.
In using those little stolen moments, especially over the Christmas season.
Yep.
Where everything's chaos. And I think then we start to feel like we're not doing Christmas right, or we're not doing motherhood right, or sisterhood, or that we're not living because there's chaos. And I don't know. My favorite Christmas song is "Oh Holy Night." Like, it's actually my favorite song of all time. But in there, the line that says, "A weary world rejoicing."
Yeah.
That we don't have to pretend not to be weary.
Yep.
Weariness is a thing, and it's been a thing for all of time. And we don't have to hide that part of us to put on the Christmas spirit. That we can sink into the weariness, that we can sink in to all those parts of us.
Yeah.
And still find rejoicing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what came up for me when I was
It's
reading.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So, friends, wherever you are, whatever is cooking in your world, whatever is beautiful, whatever is ugly, whatever is exciting, whatever is scary, we invite you to be really intentional, as Brandi said, and take a moment to breathe, to go for a walk, to have a cup of tea with someone you love, or by yourself with a candle lit, just some fuel for life. So for those of you that are just joining us, this is the Seeds Storyteller Series, and my name is Sarah Davison-Tracy, and I'm here with, I mean, she's literally a glow, but this sister of mine, Brandi Lea, who really lights up the world with love and with hope, with her unstoppable commitment to look for beauty everywhere, to cultivate beauty everywhere. And out of this, she has founded this organization, Beauty for Ashes Uganda, which we're going to talk about. And we invite you, we have a huge, long list of ways that you can connect, that you can reach out, that you can move with inspired action in the write-up. So please take a look at all the links and the nudges that Brandi and I came up with for y'all to consider, and just kind of see it as a treasure hunt. Go where your heart draws you. And if you have questions for us, please reach out, because we are people that love the interconnection of our sisters and brothers everywhere. And we beg, we invite, we cajole you to share this video with anyone and everyone that you think would be inspired, would be moved, would be encouraged, would be ignited by it, because that's really how community happens, when we share each other with each other. So we're going to dive into this conversation with Brandi, and before we get into the heart of your personal story, Brandi, which I would love to make sure we weave into this bigger story of Beauty for Ashes Uganda, because of course they're interconnected. But would you give all of us a picture, a taste, a flavor of the sisters and brothers that you love and work with in Uganda, and what Beauty for Ashes is and why it's important. And as you talk, I'm going to share this to our Facebook pages. So you just talk and I'm going to look down for a second.
Okay. Well, you're asking me to do my very favorite thing, which is to gush over our sweet, precious mamas in Uganda. So Beauty for Ashes Uganda works in the northern part of Uganda. Soroti is the town that we work around. So we work in 34 different villages, and we have 41 women's cooperatives. So a women's cooperative is a group of 30 moms, a little community. We are targeting single moms and widows. And a single mom in Uganda is a woman who maybe has never been married. And so she gave birth out of wedlock, some of her own volition, some not of her own volition, and has found herself in this situation and really is oppressed, kind of thrown to the side in Uganda. And so we're looking for these precious mamas, and we find 30 of them, and then we put them in a group, and they meet weekly to encourage and empower each other, because that's what sisterhood does. And they carry each other's burdens, and they love each other well, and they share their stories, and then they pool their own resources. And so these mamas are bringing the equivalent of like 50 cents but in shillings, like 1,500 Ugandan shillings every week. And they put it in what they call their lady bank, which I love that that's what they call it. And as that fund grows, they're taking loans from each other. They're starting group businesses. They are sending their kids to school. They're doing just this amazing work. And that's the crux of what we believe, is that we believe, and what research has shown, is that if you empower women, they're going to change their own communities. And so we really believe one of our core values is what we call mutually transformative relationships. And so we do not believe that we are the great white savior come to save the day, but that we get to live in partnership with our sisters. And that when we empower them, they're changing their lives and their families, and our lives are absolutely changed in the process. And so what we do is we put women into women's cooperatives, and they are saving and they're growing and they're changing their lives. And then we started literacy classes. And so they're learning to read and write and do math and learn about sanitation and hygiene and all sorts of stuff that they missed, because most of them never got to go to school. And so one of the things we say a lot is that you don't know what you don't know. And so if no one's ever taught you things, even things that seem simple on the outside, but if no one's ever taught you, you don't know. If you don't know how your family is getting sick because you didn't know that your goats and your chickens cannot be in the same house as your kids, you didn't know that how disease was spread.
Right.
And so a little bit of knowledge goes so far with our moms. So they're in literacy classes. And then we realized that their kiddos needed to be in school right now. And mamas will eventually be able to put their own kids in school. But for right now, they need some help. And so we have a school fund. So we have 1,000 kids. We have 1,230 mamas. And we have 1,000 kiddos in our secondary and vocational school grant kind of plan. And then we just get to do fun things on top of that, clean water projects and other empowerment gifts that empower. And then we also have an emergency medical fund because we started losing moms and realizing that their lives could have been saved for as little as $250.
Wow.
And they were leaving behind 5 and 6 kids, which also led us to our child-headed household program as we lost moms and there was no one to step up for them, or came across families who had lost both of their living parents and the kids were living by themselves. And so now we have 47 kiddos that we get to take care of, and those are my babies. So if you ask me how many children I have 50, 47 in Uganda and 3 here in the US. And these kiddos and these mamas are the light of my life. They are the light of, I think, everyone who's ever met them, because they're just amazing. They have endured things that no human being should where we are in Uganda is sort of an unfortunate place in the country because we're far enough south that the LRA came through our villages in 2003. For anybody who's heard of Joseph Kony, he's one of the most wanted men in the world, and the Lord's Resistance Army and their child soldier movement. They came in 2003 through our villages and destroyed a lot of them, kidnapped some of my moms, and kidnapped some of their kids, depending on how old they all were at the time. And then they're far enough, where our villages are far enough to the east that we have the Karamojong Raiders that came in, which was another rebel group, and the Great Bush War, when there was a civil war in Uganda after Idi Amin, which a lot of people are really familiar with. And so our moms have been through, they've been through it. Like there are the stories that they bear are incredible. And yet their resilience and the way they fight for joy and the way they fight for each other. And I remember being in a village in Amuria a couple of years ago, and they brought me this mama, and she had fallen in, I think she had epilepsy maybe, and she'd fallen in the fire and her whole arm was burned. And the mom said, "We need to help her. What do we do?" And I said, "I don't know. What do we need to do? Like, what do we do as sisters when we realize somebody's in trouble?" I said, "I know it'd be real easy. Like, there's some white folks here, Mzungus is what they call us in Uganda, which actually in Swahili means lost wanderer, which I think is really funny. Like the first time they saw a white person, they were like, 'You're never around here, are you? I think you might be lost.'" It'd be easier to just have the Mzungus cover the cost, but we want this mama taken care of by sisterhood. So what do we do? And the moms looked at me and they said, "Well, how about we take an offering and we take care of her ourselves?" They said, "I would love to be a part of that with you." And so it went around, and here are these moms who, many of whom are just at the place in their lives where they're eating 2 meals a day for the first time. They're just at the place in their lives where they're starting to be able to have a business. And yet here they are taking from their pockets and saying, "I want to take care of my sister." And that kind of giving, that kind of community just changes our lives forever. So that's why I love my mamas, because they changed my life and they changed the lives of everybody I've ever brought to Uganda. Just leaves in awe of the sisters that we get to stand with.
Well, and that makes me think about, so for those that have been, that are friends of mine or friends of Brandi's, know that this month our Seeds fundraising partnership is super duper honored to be collaborating, partnering, supporting Brandi and the Sisters of Beauty for Ashes Uganda. And Brandi named the fundraising campaign Heal and Thrive. Because it's all about this twofold launch that's happening here in about a month. In Uganda. It's twofold. One is trauma therapy by a dear, amazing soul sister whom I don't know yet, but I can't wait. Is it Tutupona?
Yep, you're gonna love Julie. Right? He started Tutupona.
And can you talk a little bit about Tutupona for folks that don't know?
Yeah, you should follow them on Facebook or become a monthly sponsor. Everything. I'm obsessed with them. They're one of my new nonprofit obsessions, which I have quite a few of those. They're getting up there on the list. And they started in Northern Uganda back right after the LRA. And so they went to an area that was highly traumatized, and they used their expertise to bring what they could, which is trauma therapy. And so now, over the years, they've worked with tens of thousands of refugees, internal refugees in Uganda, refugees coming from the DRC, and now they're also working in Iraq and Syria. And they have developed a group trauma therapy curriculum. And again, right, that idea of community. We heal in community. So often we break in community. So it makes sense that that's where our healing would come too. And So they do this in group, and it'll be 2 weeks straight where a group of moms will meet every day for 9 days. So like 5 days one week and 4 days the next for 2 to 3 hours. And they're going to walk through what is trauma and what happened to me. And then how do I process it? How do I process it in a group where I know how to kind of own my own story and share it? And then how do I move to a place of strength?
Right.
And so they do this group therapy, and their results are insane. They're seeing that after the 2 weeks, and now they're checking like 3 months out, 6 months out, a year out. So these are real results. It's not like they just came up with this and they're like, hey, this happened at the end of 2 weeks, because everybody can have a camp experience, right? Where they feel like everything's changed at the end of a week, but then life happens.
Go back and real life happens.
Yep. And so what there's long time results of a 60% reduction in PTSD.
Wow.
Which is insane.
That's incredible.
And so we're actually going to move 2 of their staff members up to sorority. And since we have so many moms, that's like one of our problems. We have 1,230 moms, that they are going to take 2 groups at a time. And a lot of times our villages are close together, and so they can meet together. So I think they're starting with Amoru and Ngopet, because they are sister villages. And then they'll take another 2 sister villages, like Damasiko A and B. And in the morning, they'll meet with one group. And in the afternoon, they'll meet with another. And they'll go for 2 weeks straight. And then they're going to take a week off and do administrative stuff, take care of their souls, and then do individual therapy with any of the moms who need it.
Amazing.
Which we are just amazed by. A few weeks ago, I sat with the moms from one of our villages, a Bongoi B, and it's actually my husband's village. That's the one he joined. So he loves these mamas. And I sat with them and I started talking to them about trauma. And we've talked about this a bit over the years. And I explained to them what trauma therapy was. And immediately they just lit up.
Yeah.
And they said, please, 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 please give us this. And they said, we have flashbacks every day of things that have happened to us, and they're affecting us. And I said, well, how many of you have flashbacks? And literally every mom raised their hands. And so the idea that we get to be a part of partnering with brilliant people like Julie and her entire team. I've met with some of the other team members at Tutupona and fell just head over heels in love with them. One of them, who's one of their volunteers, and I think she's a staff member, her husband is also a Mission Aviation Fellowship pilot. And so he's the one who flies us up to sorority. And
that's so cool.
Right? I love getting to love on them when I'm in country, but the fact that we all get to be a part of these mamas healing. Like I know in my own story what a difference healing made for me and what a difference it made for my kids.
Okay, so let's chat about that for a moment, because that is one of the things that I fundamentally believe, and I see affirmed time after time again, that so often the pain in our own stories as we journey through and as we get healed, we end up being led to some of the same, like people that have a thread of similarity in their story. So you are serving lots of single mamas and widows, yes, in Uganda. And really Beauty for Ashes Uganda grew out of your pain of a brokenness of marriage and single mama and not feeling like you had enough money, like all the things, right, to care. So can you talk a little bit about how, just share that part of your story and how it's led you to this moment right now?
Yeah, you heard me talk about my husband a little bit ago, but I've only been married for 6 months now. And before that, I was a single mom for 10 years. And so in 2010, I found myself divorced and with little ones. My kids were 4, 5, and 6 at the time. The ones that live in America were 4, 5, and 6. And honestly, my entire world crashed. Like just everything. I had PTSD. I was throwing up everything I ate. I was a disaster. Like the word hot mess was meant for me. And I lost everyone in my immediate circle. And I understood brokenness. I understood pain so deep it takes your breath away for the first time. I understood confusion. I understood not knowing your place in this world. And if you've kind of grown up in the church and then you get divorced, and that doesn't go over very well. And I was told by people that I would never be used by God again, and that I was done with and destroyed. And I believed them, honestly. Like everything was scary to me at this time, and so scary that I kind of had to step away from everything. And so I stepped away from social media. I stepped away from books. My mind couldn't concentrate on anything. And I decided to go to therapy like it was my job. Like I went to therapy like 3 times a week. Like I tell my therapist, shout out to Robin, that she was worth her weight in gold in my life. And I began to slowly walk through my brokenness. I think a lot of times when we find ourselves, and people watching might be in this place, that a lot of times it gets really messy before it gets clean.
Yeah.
And I describe that like if you're cleaning out your closet, the first thing you do is you pull everything out of the closet.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Down in the middle of it and cry. You're like, well, that was dumb. I should just be finished. And yet that is the first step, right? Like that you just find yourself in the midst of rubble, in the midst of ashes, in the midst of just chaos. And then slowly you start going through those pieces, going through the pieces and finding healing, finding validation for the really deep pain that you lived in, finding what it's like for friends to come alongside you and sit in your suffering with you, not trying to like piece you together or get you better in 30 minutes, like you're a sitcom. But that what does it look like to just sit in this space while holding on to hope and believing that beauty is a thing. A friend of mine, later we came up with the concept of, we said we wanted to be beauty ninjas. Like we will fight for beauty in our lives, no matter what that looks like we're just gonna fight for it. And I had gone to Uganda before, but then about a year later, it's a long story and you can go to our website and read it, but Beauty for Ashes Uganda accidentally started and sort of just steamrolled with no plan to do this. And yet finding myself understanding them for the first time, that we had a connection in sisterhood, that I understood abuse and abandonment and fear. I understood the lies that are so loud that say that you're destroyed and that nothing good can come from you. And I understood a God that would like get down in my dirt with me and be gentle with me and heal me slowly and surely. And I remember in 2012, we had our first women's conference. So we do a women's conference every year, which they're super excited about because there didn't used to be women's conferences for single moms. So it's like a really big deal. And now we have like 2,500 women who come to the women's conference every year. But that first year, they asked me to speak on healing from trauma. And I stood up and I said, here's the deal. You're probably thinking, like, what does this Mzungu have to say to me about trauma? Because the LRA hasn't come through your village. You haven't lost a child to malaria. You don't know what it's like for your child to starve. I said, and you're right. I don't. But I do know pain. And I do know brokenness. So feeling so broken, you think you're never going to be put back together again. I know what it's like to be at the end of myself and wish that it could all be over. I know what it's like to not have hope. And I know what it's like to fight for healing. And at the end of that week, one of the Ugandan leaders asked some of the moms, just said, so what did you think about when Brandi spoke? And she said, we can listen to Brandi because she knows our pain. And in that moment, I thought I would do it all again.
Right.
Like I would just, what an honor And I would never say that to somebody who's in the midst of suffering. So if you are in the midst of suffering, do not hear me say you should consider this an honor and celebrate your suffering right now. I'm saying you get to live in that really, really hard. But what I would hope is that you could cling to a little bit of hope that says that one day beauty can come. And so now I get to spend my life with my mamas in Uganda. And then I like randomly find people all around the world who are processing pain and brokenness and sexual violation and trafficking stories and all of this. And I get to walk with people as they heal.
Yeah.
And the journey to watching people heal is my favorite thing in all of the world. I like to say, you read all the miracles in the Bible, and the first one, he's turning water into wine. And you're like, dude, that's a fun miracle. Like, get me to that party, right? Like, who doesn't want to go to the water to wine? That's a great miracle. But the miracle I'd really want to go to is Lazarus when he like comes back from the dead. And the way I want to live my life is that if you want to see Lazarus miracles, sometimes you have to hang out at the tomb.
Well, I'll say that again.
If you want to see a Lazarus miracle, you may have to hang out at the tomb. And so I want to see the dead come to life. Yeah. Dead places, dead things, dead hopes, dead dreams. And I want to see them come to life. And for me, that started in going to my own dead places and finding resurrection, finding hope, finding beauty, not being afraid, because I think we all say that we want to do that, but then the tomb is really like scary and ugly and smelly and full of doubt and anger and all of like it's not comfortable to be in our own dead places or in other people's pain.
Right.
But it is there where the dead come to life.
Right.
And that is amazing. And I got to see it in my own life. And now I get to see it in my mama's. I get to see them go from women who said, we have women in our program who said they bought poison the week before they joined the group because they were planning on killing themselves. Wow. And now they have hope. Now they have sisters. Now they have a reason for being. And now with Heal and Thrive, which is our plan for 2020, they're going to get this amazing group trauma therapy where they're going to connect with each other and they're going to connect with their own stories. And they're going to get to see more places of their story come to life. And then we also get to partner with my friend Sarah Ray, who you also know, and we love her. She's freaking amazing. And she has written a business training curriculum, 16 modules that are like college level business training. And she's going in January as well. And she's going to teach all of our literacy coaches, not only the curriculum, but how to teach the curriculum. And then our moms are going to spend the last 6 months of 2020 getting to dive into, okay, now you're awake, now you're alive. Now there's more parts of your brain can operate. If we can deal with the trauma and we can turn off your amygdala, then your prefrontal cortex can turn back on. And now that you're ready to learn and to thrive even more, let's take your businesses a step further. And we get to watch them come alive. And it's just the most amazing thing in the whole world.
That's amazing. Okay, before we run out of time, I want to make sure, because that's awesome. So you sent me this morning, you texted me these 2 videos that you just got this morning, right? From Uganda. So we're talking hot off the press, people.
Hot off the press. Got them.
And so I'm gonna share my screen and we're just gonna watch them because they're so cool. And so who are the people we're about to see here, Brandi? Can you tell us?
So if you're doing the one with Mike is our school program.
Okay, I'll do Mike first. Yes.
And he's amazing. And he is with some of our moms. They're at our offices and they're our moms from Soroti Town. And he just told them that they were going to get the group therapy and the business training. And they are also working hard on their English. So they're super excited that they did this video in English for you. So if you see a lot of the giggling,
that's what it is.
they're super excited about their English.
Okay, in the second video with just the sisters.
Yep.
Where is that?
Same mamas. Those
Same
are
mamas.
our sorority town mamas. They just wanted to tell some of their own stories and why they were excited about it.
Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to share real quick here.
Is Mike and I'm from beautiful Ashes, Uganda. I'm here standing with some of our precious mama right here, and I've just told them that in 2020 we are going to receive group trauma therapy and extensive business training, and they're so excited. They're here saying thank
you.
Okay, hang on.
You could never get a word in edgewise with those mamas.
Oh my gosh, for real. Okay, let me get to the other one. Oh, that just makes me so happy. Okay. Oh my, hang on, we have a tech thing. We have a tech thing, hang on. Oh. What happened? Sorry, just one second.
They're so cute.
Oh, so cute. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, y'all. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Take two. It's going to be worth it.
Sarah, we are very happy for the training we are going to receive next year because it's going to change our mindsets. We are so much traumatized, but this thing is going to make us very happy because we are going to get
Oh my gosh.
I love the high-fiving at the end too.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So here's the thing I want to make sure to those that are new to this campaign, and please know if you have money to share, please do. I have links in the write-up, and like $5 is a blessing, because if a bunch of people give $5, it becomes a bunch of money. But just so you know the nuts and bolts, every $20 sponsors one of these mamas for both the trauma therapy and the business training. This twofold, right, Brandi? Do I have that right? Yep. Okay. And so we have had people give $7, I think, in our Seeds of Exchange campaign was the least amount of dollars in a big-hearted way given, and the most I just got yesterday, $1,000 from a family that wanted to have this be their way to share Christmas gifts with people. And so please know that whatever you have to share is wildly celebrated. And the thing that Brandi is so keen on making sure that we all understand is it's not just 1,230 women, which is amazing, a lot of sisters, but it's the ripples of their, I think 9,000 people is kind of what you shared, right? Yeah, that actually is the impact of this, and it's a $25,500 kind of ultimate goal, right? That you have for this launch.
So the total need is 29,000.
29,000.
And here's the deal. I thought that number was too big.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't think people give more than $20.
Yeah.
And so we'll do it as a $20, and then we will top it off,
right,
with some year-end giving. And I underestimated people's desire to want to be a part of changing the world.
That's yeah, because cool. You launched this December 1, right?
Yeah, we launched it and we thought, well, we'll just raise 25,000 and that'll be hard.
Right.
And then we'll just put this $4,000 that somebody gave for year end, and they hadn't designated it. So we're like, we could put it towards that. But now we are already over 25,000.
Right.
And we are on our way to funding the entire 29,000. And so every dollar you give goes straight into that fund for Heal and for Thrive, and making that happen for our mamas. And then because you're helping fund, heal, and thrive. That money that we save from year-end giving gets to go to a really special new project that we haven't even announced yet. Should I just announce it?
I mean, why not?
Okay.
What do you think?
We are going to build a school in Uganda, and it's going to be a secondary school and a vocational school because we want our mama's babies to be loved really, really, really well, and in a space that is safe and that is trauma informed, with teachers who get it, who get what's happening in their brains and in their bodies, and who will tell them that you are loved and you are worth loving. And so we are raising money now to buy land. And
so for those that are interested, this isn't even an official fundraiser, but for those that want to be a part of buying an acre of land to help make this school possible, reach out to me or Brandi and we'll get you the details for that. Because the thing that I want to underscore that she just said is she thought it was too big. She thought it was too much. She thought it was beyond what was possible. And right?
Right.
And it is all of those things alone, always, most of the time. But y'all, what we can do with each other and in cultivating our relationship with God, with the sacred, with the one that is greater and just bigger in love than we can ever imagine for each of us is always more than we think we can do.
Right.
So if you feel like you are holding an impossible dream, have a longing to do something, to be healed, to come back from the dead, whatever it is that is in your story that is too much, just remember that most often that's the stuff that we're really destined for does seem like it's too much. And just remember the seed of that from Brandi. As is always the case, it's a beautiful time vortex with my sister Brandi. And so we need to wrap up here in just a second. But before we do, can you tell us in Ateso how to say the phrase that you just said a minute ago? That's kind of your guys' jam, your sisterhood
This is
song.
the mantra. And our moms say it to each other. This is how they greet each other in the market now. We have them hold each other's faces. So if I was with you, I'd want to hold your face and look into your eyes, right? And say that you are loved and you are worth loving. In Ateso, it's Aminai Ijo, Busa Kanita Mina Ijo.
Okay, say it in English and Ateso again.
You are loved. You are worth loving. And that is what is truer than true. Aminai Ijo, Busa Kanita Amina Ijo. And it is true for our mamas, and it is true for you.
Yeah. Thank you. So for those that are watching again live or on the replay, these stories have some life in them that our hope, big hope, is that it just keeps on rippling through the internet for days, months, years, decades to come, because this is just truer than true stories that really matter in our human experience. So an invitation to really invite one of the seeds of this conversation to take root in your heart is to go into the rest of the day, give yourself some time to really like chew on the words of Brandi that have really sounded good or perhaps sounded uncomfortable. Whatever is capturing your attention, and chew on it and just kind of allow it to take root in you and see what is beckoning, what is destined, what is calling for your attention. And please take one step of action. Once you know what the root is, just one thing that can kind of help solidify the root. Tell someone what it is that you're wanting to think about or be about or do more of. And just keep it tangible. Like bring it from a thought, inspiration into your world, because that's when it gets really juicy and awesome. And please take a look at the write up, because there are links to, Brandi mentioned her website. I'll drop in the links to both of those videos. There's a link to the fundraiser, which if you're watching this after December 2019, believe you me, there will be other amazing things that Brandi and her team of sisters and brothers are cooking up. So this is the stuff that just has some life to it. Okay, so stick with us and really find some ways to fuel your own story, your life, your soul, your purpose, your destiny. And Brandi, before we wrap up, what's one last seed you want to plant in the hearts of people watching?
Oh, for people to know that they are loved this season, no matter where you find yourself. If you are on top of the world and this is your best Christmas season ever and things are just rocking and rolling, you are loved and we celebrate with you.
Yeah.
And if this season is really, really, really hard and you just want to get to December 26th because you want this all to be over, or you want to get to January 1st so this 2019 is over, you are loved. And beauty is waiting for you, and it is coming for you. That our wish and our prayer and our hope for you is that a weary world will find a way to rejoice this season. And so we sing that over you. I'm not going to actually sing it over you because then you would want to cry and that would kind of defeat the purpose. But it is the song that we sing over you, that you may know hope as our mamas in Uganda are knowing hope. And that if you want to be part of them knowing hope, then join us. There's always more room. You can sponsor a mom. It's just $23 a month. You can sponsor a mom and it's so fun and precious. You can come on a trip. If you sponsor a mom, you can give, you can love and pray for them, and they're worth it. And so are you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, my sister. I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm inspired by you. And to those that are watching, our hearts are with you. We love you. We want to just remind you that you belong here and that we belong to each other. And when we live that way, life feels good. We do good. It's just a win-win across the board. Win-win-win exponentially. So blessings to you this holiday season or wherever this video is hitting you. And we love you guys. Okay, later. Thank you, Brandi.
Thank you.